Hi, everyone. This is Yash, the founder and CPO at Surge.
Hi, this is Michael, co-founder and CEO at Surge.
So, we have a lot of updates to share in this podcast, and we'll also walk you through the product itself. So, now it's live, available on Play Store and Apple App Store. Michael, why don't you give a quick update on what's happening at Surge? And we went live from private beta to public beta. We did like 4 months in private beta. We did so many iteration. Of course, there's a blog post on Surge that you can read through to see what are our key learnings and learn more about what happened in private beta. So why don't you give us a latest update?
Totally. So as Yash said, we went through our private beta through a big part of the early part of the year. And then last week we were at Bitcoin Vegas. And there we got the pleasure to announce our public beta. And I'll be honest, I'll say that the reception from the folks there was really tremendous. We talked with borrowers, lenders, distribution partners, used car salesmen, a lot of people that I wasn't expecting that had an interest in getting non-custodial Bitcoin credit. They all had their own different reasons. So the feedback there was pretty great.
Mhm.
We've got about 8.5 Bitcoin on the platform at the moment, and new requests for borrowing are coming in every day. So I think we got pretty much what we wanted to from that experience. And of course, we had 5 people there that was giving us like direct user feedback and experience, and got a lot of insights as well. So now we're taking those insights that we learned from the conference, and we're continuing to build. We're looking into our liquidation engine. Heard some good feedback there. Won't spoil that right now, but all of these changes that we learned we needed to make are being built and will be released on our Twitter account, on our newsletter. So like and subscribe.
Yeah. You've been an OG Bitcoiner. I come from more of a DeFi custody. I would not say custody. It's self-custodial, non-custodial kind of background. Building infrastructure, wallets. That's what I've been doing for like 5 years. But you've been in the space for so long. I'm sure you saw the first Bitcoin lending protocol, doing its, early, showcase and like, going through the cycles, and then more products that released after that. What is that's so different with Surge that you personally felt it at the conference, at the booth, when you were talking with the Bitcoiners?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny to refer to me as an OG, but I think the reality is I got started in 2016, and that
you had your own Lightning startup.
That's now 10 years ago. So I think that officially qualifies me as OG. So the lending space has been going on for 10 years at least. At that time, Abra was the company doing lending. And then there was a number of other centralized players that were getting started at about that time. And probably the biggest feedback from the Bitcoiners that we talked to was like, how can you do that? How can you do non-custodial Bitcoin lending? And how can you do it at that price? And the what we're really doing and why it's novel is we give the borrowers the capability to have their own keys and keep the Bitcoin with them. That's not anything that an Abra can do, a Salt Lending can do, a Ledin can do. These are all centralized players. So there's a clear differentiator between what the product looks like and what the existing market has. And because we're also tapping into that stablecoin infrastructure that you're so familiar with, that's how we can offer this better price model. 6.9 is what we're targeting our interest rate for our variable market. And if I look at our dashboard today, it's at 6.6. So we really are tracking, between 5.5%, 7.5%. And we aim to maintain that as best we can as we grow, get our first million in credit book, and then 10, 50, 100 after that.
Yeah. I think easily there were 3 or 4 more lending protocols, or I would not call it protocols, lending offerings or products at Bitcoin 2026.
Yes.
In Las Vegas. For me personally, all these guys who were stopping at our booth were like, I think you guys are the only lending protocol that can explain what's happening behind the scene. And then I can go and verify myself.
This is true. I think what was most interesting is most people, when they came up to our booth, they reacted, how can you do that?
Yeah.
How can you do that? And they stuck around until we explained, this is how we do that, which was a little odd that other companies weren't able to do that. So I find that interesting, but also remarkable that we have such a strong team that's capable of describing how the actual product works. And then to back it up, it's how much transparency we have in the protocol and the app to be able to prove it.
Yeah. I mean, now the product is live. It's available on app stores. Anybody can download, and if they're still skeptic about how it all works, I think we're pretty much an open book, open protocol. People can go and verify it, be it a borrower or a lender or just a tech enthusiast or like a Bitcoiner or a non-Bitcoiner from DeFi. So everybody can verify. Everybody can verify.
Yep. The real thing that I like about our protocol is that some companies will do proof of reserves, and without naming any names, there are some companies out there that are doing lending, and they've done 9 proof of reserves, and 9 is certainly more than 0, so that's good. Maybe there's a monthly attestation or review, but with our protocol, every single borrower, every single lender can come and look at their proof of custody, which is really the entire ecosystem, immediately. There's no waiting for the end of the month, end of the year to check to make sure the Bitcoin's there. You can just go in and see every line of credit. That's where the Bitcoin is. Every line of credit, that's where the dollars are. So there's never a question as to where things are. You just need to go and look.
Yeah. There's this interesting incident, like a quick one. So one of the user, or I think he was not using the product, he was a skeptic, Bitcoiner. He didn't like, okay, I can see it in mempool. Fair enough. I'll go and verify it on my own Explorer. I think he opened blockchain.com or something, and he pasted the Taproot address of his of the wallet that we were demoing. It worked. It was like, oh, okay, this works. So that was
there's a lot of ahas that people have, and that was one of them.
Yeah. And then we also had our a workshop, one-on-one workshop at Open Source Hub, where we presented the whole technology behind the scene, the Taproot, and how Taproot is enabling a lot of this on the Bitcoin side. I think we had fantastic, Q&A.
Yeah, there were actually people falling out of their seats to get out and take pictures of how would Yash describe the difference between like DLCs and our Taproot infrastructure? Because I think most people just don't understand how our system works. And it is taking us time to get people educated, but once they get it, they get it.
Yeah.
So I think the unilateral exit talk, or it's not self-custody, went really well. We have a video we can link to that as well for those of you who want to.
Well, we'll link it in this. It's available on YouTube. You can watch the whole talk. We have kind of taken out the Q&A session because we want to protect people's privacy. But otherwise, that kind of gave that. If you watch through it, you will know how we are actually doing it behind the scene and how we are actually leveraging Taproot on the Bitcoin side. And then how it all kind of glues together, and how we are also using the DeFi or stablecoin infrastructure on the other side to enable the lending side of the story. and how fast and how quick and how easy it is.
Yeah, if I were to like sum up the entire experience, I would say that like Bitcoin Vegas really let us know that we've tapped into this underlying ethos of self-custody, permissionless lending, and the borrowers want it and distribution partners want it.
Yeah.
Full stop.
Yeah. I think it's don't trust, verify.
Don't trust, verify. That, yeah, totally.
That's where it all stops.
Yes. Yeah.
Awesome. So what's next, Michael? Like, what are we working on next? Love to hear from you.
I mean, there's a lot of features that we're working on.
Yeah.
Maybe the biggest feedback was from some high net worth individuals that we met, who basically they are borrowers. They borrow against their Bitcoin, and they want to make sure that their loans, their Bitcoin is as safe as possible. And of course, like you have to balance this when you're borrowing your Bitcoin, because if there's a big drop in Bitcoin, or like the interest rate catches up with you, you have to manage that, and that's your responsibility. But the big feedback was like today in our system, you can go up to 90% LTV before our liquidation engine comes in. And what we heard was an all or nothing liquidation is not appealing for people. Straight up. So what we're going to be building over the next 4 or 5 weeks is an updated liquidation engine that does partial liquidations or micro liquidations. That'll take, if someone hits 90%, it's going to drop them down to 75%. So it does a little bit of a liquidation, but it doesn't do fully. And that will help, again, keep our lenders secure, because the lenders' funds will be getting paid back via that liquidation mechanism. And they don't have to worry about their capital that they put up. But it's also not a huge penalty on the borrowers. And of course, that can happen a number of times, but it's not an all or nothing.
Yeah. Even like the 5% makes so much difference.
Even 5%, yeah. Right? I did hear that going down to 65% to 70%.
Such a big relief.
Is a big relief. So we think that having a 90% liquidation threshold, then going to 75% actually makes us the most competitive liquidation engine in the CeFi or the DeFi space.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to get this out the door and then show some demos with everyone so that they can see how well it works under stress. And we'll have some demos coming in a couple weeks for that.
Yeah. I think it was also like there's this sentiment or opinion on lending that borrow and
buy, borrow, die.
Buy, borrow, die, right? I think most of the Bitcoins that stop by are looking for a credit in our case, but otherwise it's loan. Most of them were customers of other products that are out there.
Yes.
But they were entrepreneurs, they were small business owners, they were already putting that money to work. And the one thing is so clear: the Bitcoiners are not like the degens or like in the other crypto side of it. Because if you go and talk to any normal or normie out there who's not into Bitcoin nor crypto, he hates everything, not just Bitcoin, right? So he thinks Bitcoin is crypto. It's such a a simple difference. One thing is so clear with all the Bitcoiners that stop by at our booth. It's there. They are real people. They are not degens. They are looking for a credit to put it to work. And I mean, there's this simple thing around like where the yield come from. Like, I mean, the Bitcoins are putting that money to work and they're getting stuff done. And then, that's how this whole, I would say, a circular economy or like economy happening.
There were a number of use cases that was not just buy Bitcoin, borrow, spend it to buy a hamburger. There were small business owners that needed to buy inventory. There was a car dealership that we talked to that was interested in providing credit line infrastructure for their for people who want to borrow against their Bitcoin to buy cars.
Yeah.
That was probably the most interesting and unexpected conversation I had.
Yeah.
And then there are so many more. So I think that the diversity of borrowers and the realness of it was not just financial hedging or carry trades. It was actually people that wanted to productively put their Bitcoin to work.
That's a very important difference of our product, Search, and then the rest of the market.
Mm-hmm.
So the rest of the market today are lending protocols or products out there. So they are very particular about like, oh, here are the terms. Like this is X number of Bitcoin that you need to like minimum number of Bitcoin or like minimum loan that you need to take from us to be customers. I think that kind of excludes a lot of Bitcoiners or a lot of people who don't have access to credit or even loan or lending at the moment. And that's personally for me when I spoke to those people, and I think at Vegas, so many, right? I think it was like 30,000 people. Easily, I think we had like 200 people stop by at our booth, maybe.
Oh gosh, we had more than 200. We gave away 400 borrow flyers, so at least 400 people.
At least 400 people.
Yeah, there was plenty more.
Yeah,
that stopped by, took a screenshot of our app, and we'll come back later.
Yeah, definitely coming back later. So that's cool. Like, so what's our users and the Search supporters should expect for in next 30 days?
Yeah, I think the next 30 days. In 30 days, we'll probably have that liquidation engine updated.
Mm-hmm.
We did meet a distribution partner that at the conference who has we've engaged, and they're starting to integrate us. So I'm very excited about that. We'll have that out in 30 days, and this is cool because there's actually the Surge protocol, and then the Surge app. And the Surge app it's just an interface for the protocol, but anyone can integrate with the protocol. So this other company, which we're not naming yet, is going to integrate with the protocol, and you'll be able to originate a line of credit straight from their experience. And we're very excited to see the different shapes of products that people develop as more companies start following on and integrating with our non-custodial lending protocol.
Yeah, awesome. So I think these are broadly the updates.
I think so.
That's awesome. So